All right, everyone. So Undertaker talked about his future, making appearances on WWE. Here's what he said on his 6 Feet Under podcast. I mean, if there was really something really good, I would consider it. Again, there needs to be less of me moving forward and more focus on the talent roster that we have. That's the way I look at it. And I think that was perfect what we did. That was a nice rub. But the less you see of my generation, the better. I mean, some people are going to look both ways at that. Like, dude, you've been around for 30 plus years. It's only going to help. Well, yeah, it helps, but it's also a distraction sometimes. I think it's time. There's always going to be that moment, that special moment. I just don't want them to be too often. So that reaction that we got the other night is always there. I had that kind of a little bit of a conversation with Triple H about that. I don't want to do this too many times. For me too, I don't want to be the old timer. Again, that moment was so cool, but it's almost at the point now, there's no one really left in that era that I work with, Roman and maybe CM Punk. These appearances would be better if there were only every so often. You know how they used to do those shows sometimes, and there'd be old timers backstage doing shit. I never want to be in that deal. So it needs to be, in my opinion, every couple years, if that. And there's only a couple of those left, probably, so that would make sense to do. So I think, Undertaker's right in some sense here, but I also think it's kind of missing a little bit of the point of what people actually want. Meaning I don't agree that him returning takes away from the current, people they have there. I think when he returns, it does only uplift those people. I don't think him returning at WrestleMania did anything but make that moment more special for everybody involved. Not just, for him. It wasn't like, oh, this is building Undertaker's character. No. It built that moment. And that moment will always be remembered as a huge WrestleMania moment for Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns and everybody in attendance. So I don't think it actually does take away in any way. But I do think, and I think this is maybe the frustration that Undertaker feels, is that, when you do it, it has to be just as special as the WrestleMania one. So you shouldn't have Undertaker come back for something that isn't like mind blowing. When you have Austin come back, like when he stunned Vince McMahon at WrestleMania, that was a awesome moment. That was perfect. You Even this Rhea Ripley thing, and I know Undertaker says it was good. To me, that isn't necessarily the reason you have Undertaker come back. It was a cool moment. I'm sure it meant a lot to Rhea Ripley, which in a sense makes it all worth it. But I just think there has to be a little bit more of like when we do have him return, it has that hit that it had at WrestleMania. Not like, well, we'll just have him come back and we'll do something that's good. No. When these guys return, what they do is has to be great. The return has to mean so much. So I think Undertaker is kind of getting that. He probably senses it even after his last return. He's like, what's the point of me returning just to do things that may be very good, maybe they're great, but I want to do things that when I return, it matters and it feels awesome to see the Undertaker again. I just hope Undertaker understands that he's only adding to the product when he's there. When he came back at WrestleMania, that made that match more memorable, and not for him, but for everybody involved, right? When I think of that WrestleMania, in my opinion, that's what I think of. That was to me the most shocking and the most exciting moment of the whole thing. And I put that in with Cody Rhodes, finishing the story and winning. But if you take that aspect out, all of those returns, it's not that the WrestleMania wouldn't have been good, but that major shock factor wouldn't have been there. So I hope WWE can continue this, right? They can continue to have these guys come back at times and make major impact without overusing them. So thank you all for watching, and put in the comment section below what you think.